You're destroying somebody else's. That flag doesn't belong to those bums. That flag belongs to the Union Station or the United States or some private individual. Well, you get to burn my property? I think it should be a crime to burn the United States flag. I don't think the flag is just a piece of material. Flags, national anthems, certain heroic individuals are what hold the culture together. And what communism specializes in is destroying a culture. And that's what she advocates for with her most common statement, which she has repeated over 100 times, which is the sign of an inferior mind. Ted, do we have her saying what we're never going to forget or let her forget? This is about as good a sign as the being unburdened by the past. This is pure Marxism.
But I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been, you know?
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what.
I mean, we last night on one of my shows, I played about 30 of these, 20 of these. I mean, there are hundreds. Anybody who repeats the same thing over and over again is a nitwit who is a product of identity education and identity politics. I mean, and she also says the stupidest damn things you can possibly imagine. You know, Russia's a big country and Ukraine's a small country and crazy crap like that. But I mean, the fact is that she's not just a dummy, but she's it's like a traitor type dummy. She let's listen to her. Let's listen to her wisdom on the war. Do you have that?
I got to get it from them. Those are from the other show.
Well, why don't we see if we can get? I mean, she's on Hamas.
2 minutes.
She's on Hamas's side. She's on the side of the Palestinians. She is against the Jewish people. When she talks about it, she talks about all the terrible things that are being done to the Palestinians. She never talks about all the terrible things that were done to the Jewish people. She never talks about the fact that Hamas to this day is dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish people. If you're Jewish and you vote for her, there's something wrong with you. There is definitely something wrong with Schumer, who has got to be one of the biggest double crosses of his people that ever lived. What a snake he is. He should be the Jewish Benedict Arnold, telling Bibi he should get out of office. Geez, if it wasn't for Bibi, who knows what would have happened in Israel? They'd still be a socialist, dependent country and not the rich country that they are. He's doing our work for us, going after the Houthis. We let the Houthis kick the living daylights out of us, and Biden says thank you and hits empty fields. So Bibi was before the Congress today, and he defended our flag. Biden didn't.
1 second. I'll have it.
This Hamas didn't. You know, when you say we want a two-state solution, you're saying you want to create a terrorist state. There's nothing in there about they have to earn a two-state solution. You know, the Ukraine wants to get into EU, which is a very difficult question because of the possibility it could create a world war, right? But Ukraine's got to earn its way into the EU. I mean, unless Biden is around, because they're not going to have to earn their way in on corruption if Biden is around, because they can't really do anything about the corruption because he's part of it. But generally, to get into the EU, you've got to straighten out your corruption, your endemic or systemic corruption before you get in. And that is one of the major issues with Ukraine presently existing. And when we talk about our objections to the money going to Ukraine, somebody should be intelligent enough to make that part of it, because that's my real objection to it. I would very much like to see Putin defeated. I would very much like, if it could be done without either a world war or a world without end, amen. I would like to see them pushed out of Ukraine. By the same token, if we're not going to do that, if we're going to play a shell game with them like Biden is, well, that just shows they get people killed and don't care. When people bring up this conspiracy theory to me, they say, oh, would they be capable of killing somebody? I said, who are you talking about? Well, the Biden regime and the Bidenistas. Well, they sure as hell didn't seem to care about the people in Afghanistan. Yeah, I mean, you had to be a submoron not to realize that by taking out the troops before you took out the civilians, you get a whole bunch of the civilians killed. Who's in Afghanistan? Terrorists. The last year and a half or 2 years of Trump, nobody was killed in Afghanistan. It didn't happen just because Donald Trump said don't kill. It happened because we had troops there. And if you kill somebody, they'd kill you, and they were better at it than the Afghanis. Well, can't you figure out? I mean, wasn't there anybody around this nitwit little moron that would say to him, hey, dopey, 5-year-old mind? Generally, when we leave the country, we take the civilians we want to protect out first. Then we take the soldiers and the police out. The way you want to do it will get them killed. I mean, could Kamala, Pamela, Damala, Famila come up with that? Oh, because she is dumb. Don't do a bunch of excuses. When you talk like that, you're dumb when you talk like that. Go ahead. You got a couple more. They have a big word for it that you probably don't even know what it is. They call it like a tautology or word salad. It really is illogical thinking. That's what it is. Socrates would have been able to define it. She would not have been able to be in the Platonic dialogues. I just don't think she'd be able to participate. She can't. She couldn't participate in deciding what was to be done about Afghanistan because she must have agreed with taking out doing it, the challenging way. Take out the soldiers and leave the civilians for the terrorists to die. Oh, and by the way, in case the terrorists don't have enough weapons to kill our people that we leave behind, and the civilians that we leave behind, who helped us, we're going to give you $85 billion worth of the most sophisticated arms in the world, so you can just blow them away. Might as well do it fast. If we're going to double cross these people, we might as well do it fast. Do you realize that was probably one of the most disgraceful and dishonorable things an American president ever did? And he got away with it the same way he got away with being a guy without a mind for the last 4 years, because the press covered up for him, and the person who wants to be president covered up for him. Well, we need another cover. I mean, this will be like the second presidency in a row that was based on false premises, fraud, deceit. They always work out bad. I didn't think I knew that Biden would work out bad, which is why I worked so hard to get that hard drive to you. For which, I mean, they basically think they're going to destroy me. Not going to destroy me. They just make me stronger. They don't know they don't know how I'm built. They're too damn dishonest. If they ever had any principles that left a long, long time ago in the swamp of democratic politics, you have no idea how crooked that political party can be when it's crooked. It's not crooked all over the country, but I saw it in one of its worst places since I'm a kid in New York. That's why I left it. I left it because the Great Society was a big scam. Before it even started, they were stealing, and I put them in jail. None of the money got to the poor people. If you think about it, if all that money that Lyndon Johnson had earmarked for Harlem got to Harlem, how come Harlem was suffering like crazy when I became mayor 30 years later? How come I turned it around?
Kamala Harris criticizing Israel.
You know what I did? I put them to work rather than made them dependent. And now they come up and kiss me and thank me, the people I did. But I'm talking about black people. So anybody on welfare had to work. I got 600,000 people off welfare, vast majority with jobs. Let's listen to Marble Mouth cackle. Let's listen to cackle.
With the Israeli government in public and in private many times. As Israel defends itself, it matters how. The United States is unequivocal. International humanitarian law must be respected. Too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Frankly, the scale of civilian suffering and the images and videos coming from Gaza are devastating. I have spoken with members of the Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim communities of America, including those who have lost loved ones in Gaza and American citizens who were injured and evacuated from Gaza. It is truly heartbreaking. As Israel pursues its military objectives in Gaza, we believe Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. President Biden and I have also been clear with the Israeli government in public and in private many times.
She's never talked to any of the Americans who have hostages there, has she? Because she and Obama hate America. That's why he went around apologizing for it. And Obama's wife only thought America was good when they selected the communist-trained Obama to be president. Why don't we just face up to the fact that they hate America? She's talking to the group of people, the Palestinians, who for 40 to 50 years uniformly teach their children, brainwash them, to kill Jews, destroy Israel, and death to America. An ally with Iran that has killed lots of Americans. And she wants a two-state solution so we can have another terrorist state that will kill Americans, because she says nothing about eliminating terrorism. Nor does she show any sympathy for the 120,000 it's actually what, 12,000, right? That were killed. Felt like 120,000 that were killed by the Palestinian terrorists who raped them. And I read, and I hate to. I mean, I have to deal with this stuff, the sexual stuff, perversion and stuff like that as a prosecutor. I was younger then, it used to make me want to vomit. But what they did to these people, the Israelis don't do that. The Israelis try their best to not kill the civilian. Doesn't Miss Nitwit know that Hamas and the Palestinians stop this stuff like there's a big difference between the Hamas and the Palestinians? 85% of them supported the raping of Jewish women and the killing of Jewish children. 85%. Why? Because they were taught that. They were taught that the moment that the government got their hands on them, because they are like what she and Obama and all the communists want to do. The children are state property. Your kids are state property. That's what all the gender bullshit's about. That's what all the kindergarten education is about. They're almost there. They got it down to 3. Hitler and Stalin were aiming for 2. when they could grab your kid. Go read Black Lives Matter. They want to get your kid at 2. Father's gone. They're a thing of the past. Insemination's going to be done in some kind of sterile way where we won't know who the father is. And the mother goes at 2. Talk to anybody that comes from a communist country. Now, let them tell you about the battle that goes on for the life and the soul of a child. Dictatorships, socialist, communist dictatorships, which Nazism was, by the way, want the kid's brain at 2. They know there are certain things that will prevent their evil, satanic system of government and economics. And one of those is a belief in God. 2 is the morality that comes with that. Because they don't just get rid of God, they get rid of morality. That's what all this stuff is about. That's what those drag queens walking around the White House and taking their breasts out, and that's what it's all about. It's like the end of Rome. It's the way you bring a civilization down. So why do they want to bring our civilization down? Because Soros has got a better one for us. It's called One World, which has been the aim of communists forever. Now, here's the kicker. I don't know that Soros is a communist. He can get a big surprise when he ends up with his One World. Because he ain't going to be controlling it. China is. And they're going to get rid of Red China is. And they're going to get rid of him well, he'll be dead by then, but I mean, they'll get rid of his kids so fast, it'll make your head spin. First people they get rid of are the people who helped them, who aren't one of them. And they're not one of them. I don't think. Well, maybe they are. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. God forbid, we'll see. I think America has gotten its taste of California. And boy, if Biden was bad, this is much, much worse. I've got a I would like you to know in the middle of all of this, because you'll miss stuff like this. And this comes from a pro mutilation uh, publication, The Guardian here, The Guardian, yeah. There was a little discussion and a little confusion a while back. Somebody in the White House who must have like one person in the White House who has common sense. So that poor person was asked, is the Biden administration, meaning Kamala and him and all of the little communists, are they in favor of mutilation surgery, removing the genitals for minors? And the person said, no, 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 no. They support the ban for minors. Like all, sensible, decent, honorable, moral people would. White House went nuts. The Biden administration, this is from The Guardian, is reaffirming its support for overturning bans on gender-affirming surgeries. This was just about 2 days after backlash over a recent White House statement opposing such surgery. That poor guy's probably been. I mean, you can't have common sense in this White House. The change comes after transgender and LGBTQ plus advocates launched a pressure campaign in response to an unnamed White House spokesman, poor spokesman, wow, telling news outlets, including the New York Times and the nonprofit newsroom, the 19th, I don't know what that is, that these surgeries should be limited to adults. Whoa. There's somebody in the White House who actually believes that. You shouldn't chop off the genitals of a minor. They might change their mind. You see, now, this is where I think Kamala here is not an ideology. I think it's where her stupidity comes in. Because I don't think she can do the logical analysis to get you to that result. Because when she tries it, she gets all screwed up. You know, Russia's a big country and a small country. Well, maybe she doesn't. She is a communist. I don't know. The statements marked a significant policy change for the administration, whose Justice Department, of course, Garland is a major proponent of mutilating children. Oh, he's got a son-in-law who runs a company that makes millions advising schools on the right policies for today. Maybe that's why he likes to take Catholics and the people who object to school boards taking their children away from them, making them organized criminals or whatever, terrorists, particularly if they like the Latin Mass. Ooh. Department of Justice has urged the Supreme Court to take up the case of the Tennessee law that bans all gender transition care for minors, arguing that the law discriminates against trans people. So this is obviously just one poor guy or woman who probably wasn't clued in and just exercised common sense and decency and said, well, of course we're not in favor of chopping off the genitals of minors. And man, that got changed real quick. With this California administration, you're going to start even seeing a debate because that crazy person that he has in HHC, Admiral, what's his name, her name? I get the pronoun wrong. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I get its pronoun wrong. You know who I mean, Ted? Levine, right? Is it Levine? Admiral Levine? What?
Admiral Rachel.
Okay, so it's now it used to be a he.
Oh wait, yeah, I'm confused.
Okay, I have a question.
Am I wrong? Am I confused?
Yeah, are you entitled to ask when they say that? I'm a she now. I used to be a he. Now I'm a she.
Yeah.
Are you a real change or a phony one? Did you chop it off or not? Are you entitled to ask that question? Or is that some kind of a horrible violation of human rights? Aren't you entitled to know if a person says they change from male to female if they removed the male sexual organs so that they can't sneak into a girl's bathroom and rape them? Are you entitled to ask that? I don't know. I'm asking you, Ted.
Sorry. Are they what? I'm listening to Biden.
Oh God, what do you want to listen to Biden for? You just get
He was live tonight for just a couple minutes. I'm trying to cut up the clip. It's just there's nothing really there.
Well,
Would you repeat the question, Mayor?
The question is, are you entitled to know if a person who claims they're transgender and they were male and now they claim like Admiral Rachel Levine, what was her original name? Robert Levine or something?
No idea.
Well, whatever.
Are they entitled?
Do they have a penis or not? Did they keep the penis or did they get rid of the penis?
That's a case-by-case basis, Mayor.
But you're not entitled to know that. Because I don't think you're
what
entitled.
Contact?
I just don't see how you're entitled to go into a ladies' room if you have a penis.
Sure.
So shouldn't we know? So the guy is walking around in a dress, right?
Yeah.
Well, what is he? Has he turned into a female or is he a phony? Or is he a guy that's, they used to have him a lot in Manhattan before I was mayor. A lot of the prostitutes on the street, or not a lot, but there was a big whole thing toward the end.
Crossdresser.
Yeah, toward the end of the decadence of New York, when we thought we had changed it after Dinkins had made it as bad as it's ever been. That used to happen, and it would involve sometimes real violence, because depending on who was the bigger guy or the tougher guy, sometimes the transdresser got the hell kicked out of him. when the guy realized he thought he was getting a girl and he got a boy, or a person pretending to be a girl but had a male genitalia. I mean, that can result in some real violence by people who frequent such people, right?
Right.
But I mean, the serious part of it is, I have a granddaughter who's going to almost be 2, and I don't want her growing up in a society where she goes in the ladies' room, she's got to worry that creeps are walking around in dresses that have penises. I'm sorry, that I don't care what you tell me. That's not right. That's wrong. There's such a thing as objective right and wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's morally wrong, and it's dangerous. Even if there are people in those circumstances who are confused and mixed up or mentally ill, there are people who, as we have already found out, who will use it. We got some really, really disturbed people in this society. You know that. Well, you're just giving them a new way to practice violent perversion. And I don't know. I don't think anybody from California should be elected to president or vice president. Not in a place that reduced the penalties for pedophilia. Almost unanimously supported by all the Democrats. Who the hell would reduce penalties for pedophilia? But yeah, what are you, crazy? Yes.
Well, Mayor,
the things we are talking about, in a million years, I never thought we would be talking about. I just never thought we'd have a presidential debate. I mean, if Harris and Trump debate, they probably will, the moderators will probably keep it away from this, but Trump should ask her, is she in favor? I mean, would she allow laws to be passed that permit a mutilation of children 18 and under for purposes of gender change? Would she allow that? I don't know what she would do. She'd probably give us a squirmy answer. Russia is a big country, and this is a small country, unburdened by the past. Karl Marx says you should be unburdened by the past. You can't be unburdened by the past. We can't have any traditions. We can't have any culture. We can't have any history. It's the end of history. Now, we can't excuse Kamala, because I'm sure she never read any of those books about the end of history or the implications of Marxism. This is way beyond her intellectual level. Because you're not telling me that those word salads come from an intelligent person. That's the sign of a mind that, at a minimum, has a problem with logic. At a minimum. I think she's got a lot of other problems. She definitely has a problem with logic. I mean, it is possible we're going from bad to worse. Well, it isn't possible. We are going from bad to worse. I think, Biden had gone pretty far over on the communist side. But this one is like straight out California madwoman. Worse than Pelosi, I think. Pelosi went along with these things for political reasons, and so she and her husband can make a fortune on insider trading. I mean, she comes from a very practical Baltimore background, Mayor D'Alessandro and his brother. But Kamala, I think, just basically says anything she has to, and morality doesn't mean a damn thing. Look how she got there. Not by, well, there are people that would argue that there was a certain kind of merit, but it's not the merit we use. It wasn't like what Martin Luther King meant when he said we're going to judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. I don't think he was talking about her and Willie Brown. I don't think so. Well, the Olympics has started. There's a big dispute as to whether the Seine is safe to swim in. Can you imagine that? Nobody's been swimming there for 90 years, and they're going to have the people swim there. This is like I always get the feeling, particularly in Paris, I'm not sure they shower all the time. There's something about the French in Paris that, you know what they do? They're constantly getting snippy if you try to say anything in French, which in every other country, people appreciate that you're trying, like we do. If you're trying to, I've never criticized someone because of their accent if they're trying to speak English. But the French in Paris are such pricks. They do. So you know what I've been doing lately? Like if I'm in a cab or something, I get them to talk English and they mispronounce English and I go nuts on them. I'll say, take me to the station, and they'll say, take you to the station? No, not station, station. Because that's what they do to you. Well, my ex-wife didn't like that very much. She used to get mad at me. Everybody gets mad at me, Ted. It's terrible.
Not true.
I was just trying to help them, to be more kind. Like in Italy, I know you're going to say I'm being prejudiced because I'm, Italian heritage. In Italy, they don't treat you like that.
No.
You can mess up Italian and they'll tell you how to pronounce it, or they'll be, although I have to tell you, in Northern Italy, they might. Now, I just forgot something. I was in my 20s and I was in Florence and I was trying to impress my wife and I was ordering in Italian, and the Florentine waiter, who was very, very impressive, and my family comes part from Florence, and he said, halfway through the meal, he said to me, Ted, there's no reason for you to ruin my language. I speak yours fluently. I was at the stage of my life then where I would have been likely to punch him in the nose, and my wife kept me under control. What a creep. He's the only Italian I ever met that was like that. All the rest, they would help you. I once got lost trying to find my grandmother's home country, and I had to get to the opera house at 8:00. And it was 1 hour or more to go from Avellino to the opera house the San Carlo Opera House in downtown Naples. And I asked and the police had guided me to the town. And I was nobody then. Really, no, I was a law clerk to a judge. But when they heard my family came from there, the whole police precinct showed up. And they started fighting with each other as the best way to get there. So we ran out of time. By the time they figured out I couldn't go. So now I had to get there to go see the beginning of the opera. And just to show you that I'm not Joe Biden, the opera was Andrea Chenier. I just want to show you that I still have my memory. And they gave me a police escort for 1 hour. Long before I didn't get another police escort until I was mayor. I got a police escort all the way from Avellino, the town seat of Avellino, right to downtown San Carlo Opera House, and just made it in time for the opening curtain. They're so kind and they're so nice. And all they do is help you pronounce the language. And they even, like every once in a while, I would go in and they'd say, what's your name? And I'd say, my name is Rudy Giuliani. They say, no, Giuliani. Proper pronunciation is Giuliani. It is, by the way. You would know that if you took second year Latin, because it's pronounced just like Giulio. Now, who's Giulio? Why would you know the pronunciation of Giuliani? Because you learned the name Giulio in second year Latin, Kamala. What do you think she would know the answer to that? Because traditionally, when we used to teach in schools and not propagandize and brainwash, it was required that you take a second year of Latin. And when you read the second year of Latin, the book that you read was Giulio Cesare. And you'd read about the Gallic Wars, about how he conquered France. Because Caesar, among other things, was a great writer. When they try to compare Biden to Caesar and Kamala and all the rest of them to Brutus, oh man, they're turning over in their graves. Biden can't write. Can't even read. Before he was demented. Remember, he was plagiarizing Neil Kinnock's life. He was last in the class, not first. And when I was introduced to him, I was introduced to him as the stupidest guy in his law school class. It's terrible. It's really just terrible what our country has had to go through with this guy. So we tied the rugby 12-12 against France. But the real question is, how did we do? How did we do on?
Are you sure? Wait.
Yeah, 12-12.
Friday?
It's a front.
Sorry, what am I looking at?
Talking about it's 12. I'm telling you, but I don't know what you're looking at, but you're looking at August.
Okay.
You got August and November, and just try to keep up with me.
Fiji dominates U.S. in rugby.
What?
Okay, go ahead. USA pulls off shocker in World Championship. Okay, this is not interesting. USA pulls off shock result and hosts France at Olympics. But somehow we did something wrong. USA pulled off the first shock of the Olympics in the rugby sevens. However, fans were bemoaning the players for their disgusting approach. I don't know. Some
maybe we were a little too rough.
Yeah. This is quite something, right?
I can't imagine how we could lose to France. Don't they give up at the beginning like they in a war? They 12-12.
The draw. So I guess we ended up tying.
Why did they call that disgusting? It sounds like it was like gentlemanly or something, right?
Rather than pursuing a stunning victory, the USA opted to boot the ball into the touch. Sorry, I'm reading a whole different language here, English, but not really. And we settled for the tie. So while the Americans were happy to settle for the tie, the French crowd were frustrated.
Why?
They were aggrieved that he did not continue the match. And he settled for a tie instead of risking it for the win. I don't know. It seems like the American, we would prefer them going for the win, but strategically they settled for the tie, which in rugby must be more acceptable than in football, right? Are you reading this?
Yeah, I'm reading right here. I see it. I understand now what they're talking about.
Yeah, because you watched it.
No, I just saw the score. I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't. Well, I think we should have gone for the win. I don't know. You're not there to tie.
Yeah. I wonder if there was some strategy.
There is strategy, but the hell with the strategy. You're there to win.
I'll have to read more about this.
I guess we took the win. We needed because they're so much better than us. It was quite something that we got for us, a tie was a win.
Yeah.
For them, a tie was a loss.
Yeah, we needed the points, I guess. There's a point system. It must be like
except we would have gotten more points if we won.
Or we would have gotten no points if we lost.
But that means we were scared and they weren't.
Yeah.
Because they're better than us, and they were very disappointed that they tied to us because they're generally considered better than us. And we were lucky to have gotten a tie.
Sure. But I'd want to know the further implications. Like, did we need that point to do something else,
Well, we needed the point to stay in, I'm sure.
So in that case, I'm all for the strategy that leads to victory or the outcome necessary to further your to advance, right?
Yeah. Now,
Now I'll give up a little of the bravado. Then we might be different, Mayor. You being from New York, I think
I go for the win.
you're going.
U.S. U.S. Who do we play in soccer today?
Let's check out the soccer here. Sorry, these are sports the mayor and I are not as used to talking about.
Well, we are. Are we in soccer time yet?
Not yet.
I won't report this until we get to soccer time. But let me get the score.
So,
Who do we play? We didn't play France, I don't think.
Paris Olympics. France hammers the U.S. in the opener.
In soccer?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you told us before soccer time. That's a
Good.
shame.
Well, I didn't get the final yet. We're gonna save it.
You just said hammered.
Yeah, but that might have been the rugby.
No.
France hammers US MNT soccer and rugby result.
Yeah. They probably won the soccer.
Well, I won't tell you the final score or who won, but we'll talk about that in soccer time. We're still a ways away from that.
Okay.
You want
all
to
right.
hear BB?
What?
Should we hear some of BB's speech?
Yeah. I want everyone to hear BB.
Here's BB's thoughts on the Gays for Gaza protesters.
Gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
It is absolutely mind-boggling that gay people would be in favor of Gaza or Palestine. Palestine, it's a 10-year prison sentence. Those are the Palestinians, that Kamala is in favor of. But the Hamas is, kill them. And Iran, for sure. How the hell do you support people that want to kill you? How did that come about? Do they ignore it? Are they ignorant and unaware of it? Do they think we don't know that they're extraordinarily stupid for doing it? I mean, therefore, their protest carries no value except among the equally idiotic like them. To have somebody protesting in favor of a group that wants to imprison or kill you unjustifiably means you're crazy. Do you understand how someone like Pamela there can support them? But I mean, she's much worse than that. She gets the protesters out of jail who burn buildings down. And she wants to be she's not law and order. She's a complete phony. She let cop killers go. She let all kinds of criminals go until she got into trouble. And then she put a whole bunch of poor little black kids in jail for marijuana. Marijuana then, not marijuana now. There's an article in, let me see where this is. I just pulled it out because I wanted Dr. Maria to look at it for me and analyze it. But it basically is a study and there have been a bunch of these now, and it's really ridiculous. They come out after we convince everyone in America to use cannabis. The cannabis apparently is, first of all, the cannabis that is used today is like a world of difference between the marijuana that at least I was dealing with when I was a prosecutor. I don't know, like 10 to 1 more potent. And each year, like it went up 16% last year and 22% the year before. It's like exponentially just growing. And I guess look, I wish I had Dr. Marie here to explain this. I take it that the substance in it that creates the addictive effect is THC. So the average THC potency in leafy marijuana was approximately 1% in 1977. So I was an assistant U.S. attorney between 1970 and 1975. So I was dealing with 1% marijuana. Never brought a marijuana case because I considered it not that it wasn't wrong, but that in comparison to the heroin and cocaine cases and methamphetamines, that our resources had to be used for that. So it was 1% then. Now it's 21%. That's crazy. And it's been up there, and it's been up in the 16% for quite some time. It may be the reason why, like Oregon made marijuana legal, one of the first, and now they're creating much higher penalties for it because of all the accidents that they've had. And we have a mayor in New York who was going to build our economy on gambling and selling cannabis. Except the cannabis thing, he did what Democrats usually do. He was incompetent in the way he rolled it out. And therefore, by the time he got his couple of legal shops up, there were 1,500 illegal ones. And there's no room for legal marijuana anymore. So he's not making money on marijuana. He's losing money on marijuana because all the cops have to be used to arrest the illegal marijuana people. And also the idea that if you legalize drugs, you're going to get rid of illegal drugs. No. The experience has been, and I've been preaching this to people forever, and they don't believe it because they want to take drugs. And you legalize drugs and you triple the amount of illegal use. That's exactly what's happening with cannabis and marijuana. Many, many more people are using it. And now it turns out, and they tell us after everybody gets convinced to use it, that it is exceedingly dangerous for young people and the development of their brain. And when they have the old fights between the old people and the young people, and is it more dangerous than alcohol? No question, much more dangerous than alcohol in terms of depression, mental illness, deterioration of brain cells, Biden disease, dementia. And what about the old marijuana? This new stuff. This is like atom bombs. Take this and stuff it down your liberal. And you got half the kids taking this shit now. And don't tell me it doesn't lead to other drugs. I prosecuted drug cases before most of you were born. Don't tell me it doesn't lead to other drugs. I thought it was remarkable the other day when Stupid Face went up and started talking about the records that Biden has set. Well, first of all, she didn't mention one. I got a bunch of them. More people dead of fentanyl than ever before in our history by enormous amounts, like 120 to 200%. More than even when Obama was in office. More drug overdoses in general than ever before. More illegals than in human history. He stupidly lied and said something about he's gotten it down to below Trump's last year, like hell he has. He could have over 1 million this year. Because it's down from his 3 million, but it's 600,000 more than Trump. I think Trump's life was saved. I'm almost certain that Trump's life was saved in making that point on the 13th, because he had a chart, and I have the chart here somewhere. I'm going to find it. He had a chart, and everybody should get this chart. It's the chart that saved Trump's life. He had a chart that shows how ridiculous the amount of illegal immigration is under Biden and under the drugs, under the border czar. The border czar, remember, never went to the border. She was asked at some point, are you going to the border? Have you ever been to the border? She said, no, and I've never been to Europe. She's never been to Europe? You don't think that kind of makes her an identity choice as opposed to qualify? You really think we should have a president that's never been to Europe? Particularly when she talks like that. You think maybe I'm right? She's stupid, uneducated. I know she's got the degrees, but you know how she got the degrees. Same way she got the job as vice president. She didn't take an intelligence exam. She took an exam for being a female and black, which is kind of like how she got started in the first place. Maybe not necessarily the black part, but the female part. Think Willie appointed her on merit? So how about a poll, Ted?
Sure.
This is a Democratic, well, at least one of them is a Democrat, Schoen and Kuberman for the Hill. So I think it's a pretty straight poll. Trump has gotten a bump from the convention. His favorability has gone up 7% in their poll to 49%. It is, I don't know if it went up. Trump's personal favorability, 49, is 7 points ahead of Harris. That's what it says. His speech was rated as excellent or good by 55% of the people polled. He jumped another 4 points in the poll, and 61% of the people polled say the Republican Party is addressing the issues that worry them the most, as opposed to the Democrats. Now, there was a poll that showed Harris ahead in the national vote by 2%. There's another poll showing Trump ahead by 9% in the national vote since the convention and the attempt on his life and the selection of Kamala Harris. A lot of things going on all at once, right? Now, I think polls are not going to mean very much until we get through the Democratic convention, because we really don't know who the heck they're going to nominate for vice president. And I also think, Ted, and I want you to think about this as we take a break. Why is Obama lying in the weeds? He really did the kiss of death. And a lot of people now think it was on purpose at that fundraiser in Hollywood where he walked him off. And everyone said Biden acted like he was demented during the fundraiser. But the Times and all of the liars and people who covered up his dementia to the detriment of the United States for 4 years all said that, we made it up, right?
Right.
But then Clooney, when he wrote his letter, wrote something really stupid. He wrote that he knew at that event that Biden couldn't be president and that he was out of it. But then he didn't do anything about it until he got exposed in the debate. So Clooney was quite willing to double-cross America and leave this demented pig in the White House, right?
Right.
And nobody points it out. It's like ridiculous. When the guy made his case against Biden, he went back 10, 12 days to an event in which he never complained about it then, even though the guy has got the button all that time and he's off there negotiating for the United States. Jesus, he might do what Roosevelt did and give away Europe. Right?
Right. But what? So Obama
maybe if somebody had been honest about Roosevelt not having a brain left when he went to Yalta, Poland never would have lost all those people to the Russians. Wouldn't have been all killed. And maybe Czechoslovakia and all those other places could have been free instead of turning them over to Uncle Joe against Churchill's wishes.
Yeah, what do you think it is? What do you think Obama's up to, Mayor?
You know what I think.
Michelle?
You know what you think.
Yeah, I'm.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I am from a guy who rejected all conspiracy theories. I think nowadays you don't take them all seriously. Just put them all up there as hypotheticals. I mean, maybe it's wrong, but maybe they're trying to. Even someone said they. This I think is a little far fetched, but way back they picked Chicago so she could come out crowned as the Queen of Chicago.
Bingo.
That's why they picked Chicago. I mean, now the fact is they don't really give two hoots about Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't move back there. He lets people get slaughtered there like it's worse than Vietnam. Never done a damn thing for them. Just as 4th of July, 100 people wounded and 99 people shot and killed, most of them all black. And the mayor, who's, a left-wing fool like they are, blamed it on Richard Nixon.
That is quite something.
I mean, don't you understand? There's only one way we're going to fix this country. We're going to get rid of the Democratic Party.
They're not smart.
I don't mean we're going to get rid of all the people in the Democratic Party. I'm going to tell you the majority of people in the Democratic Party are smart people and good people. But a critical mass are not. A critical mass divide up into several different groups, including people that are extraordinarily evil and capable of the worst things, including murder. I think. I mean, when I look at their criminal conduct toward Trump, and I see Russian collusion, and I see them all banding together after it was clear Russian collusion was a paid-for frame-up by Hillary Clinton for $1.1 million. And they're all Shifty Schiff and Swalwell and all of them, Schumer and all these pieces of crap are supporting removing a lawfully elected president based on a paid-for fraud. I say to myself, gee, they're capable of anything. Or when you end up with accusing him of quid pro quo bribery with Zelensky, when you look at it, there's no quid pro quo, no money involved. And it's exactly what Biden did with Poroshenko. People that do that are capable of just about any kind of criminal act because their ambition, their greed has overwhelmed their conscience. Or if something like the hard drive comes out, which shows definitively that his son for 35 years has been involved in a criminal conspiracy with him. His son tells his daughter on an existing email. Clearly, I mean, they keep telling there's no evidence that Joe got money. That's clear evidence that he got money. Admissible in court. Not even evidence sort of like generally, loosely speaking, evidence technically speaking. And I don't even know how they accomplish that. They get the New York Post banned and get a president elected under unbelievably false pretenses. What a group that does that. Are they capable of murder? In my experience with criminals, I don't know. I'm not going to give you an answer to that. And I'm not going to give you an answer to whether this was a conspiracy with regard to trying to take out President Trump, because there are too many damn unanswered questions. In my experience, the Secret Service, even the local police, have never acted this incompetently. I mean, it's like what I told you before. Who the hell takes out the soldiers before the civilians in a country surrounded by terrorists who hate those civilians? Somebody who wants to get them killed, or is so profoundly stupid and ignorant that it's just the same thing? Who doesn't cover that tower? Who lets them come out after 58 minutes of an unresolved, suspicious person? Who doesn't act when the people are yelling that the guy's on the roof with a gun? And now I don't want to take off after the sniper who did a great job of killing him, but how did he get 8 shirts off? Maybe there's an explanation. Maybe the sniper didn't see him. And then, you know, if you go through the one we played last night, which maybe we'll play again when we come back, I thought that there's some confusion as to whether or not there was a sniper in the window behind the killer. Maybe we'll go back and play that and see what we can get from that. But we're going to take a short break, and then in honor of the Olympics, and I cannot believe we lost to the French. And that's why we should have played. You don't play for a tie with the French.
I'm very confused.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Make sure I got what I covered here.
We're back.
Welcome back, and welcome back to Soccer Time. And Ted and I really do believe that this is serious, and we have really uncovered quite a thing here that could decide this election. I think the American team went for a tie based on the influence of the appeasers, Biden and Harris. I think America under, Make America Great Again would go for a win. Just think of the difference. The captain of the team calls up Biden or Harris and says, do we take a tie or a win? Well, they haven't had any wins. So they say, oh, take the tie. We're afraid. What do you think Trump would have said? What do you think they got him on the phone and he said, you can tie against the French?
No,
you might as well lose.
Well, yeah, but Mayor, maybe these guys are thinking.
I never saw him take a tie in golf.
They see Biden and Harris, our own team, the members of the team are thinking, guys, give us the tie. We don't even have a president right now. We'll take the tie. We're going home. Right? My goodness. Look, we got Biden. We don't know where he is.
My experience with France is they would have given up before the game started.
Right?
I mean, in war, they surrender before the war starts.
Yeah. Maybe the French are rubbing off on us a little bit during that.
I'm heading for France.
Oh, you'll be there in 24 hours. We won't say when. We won't say when.
I should tell you that starting on Friday, I'll be giving you reports from Paris and from London.
Yeah,
Ted will be holding down the fort.
Live from New York.
Not that I wouldn't take it with me. He didn't get his passport, dummy.
Yeah. Yeah, people are asking, why aren't you going?
I'm going to just embarrass him so he gets his passport while I'm gone.
Look, no, I shouldn't say that. I want to see the world. I don't want to. The U.S. has everything. The U.S. has it all. We got mountains.
We could have taken all our stuff like we do all the time.
Yeah.
And we could have done it from the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Champs-Élysées.
Champs-Élysées.
And they wouldn't even, they'd come up to us wanting to know what we were doing. And we'd tell them all kinds of fancy ridiculous stories.
Then they let it stay up.
Yeah.
What do you like in France, man?
They'd be all impressed because they think we were celebrities because we're on television.
Well, I don't recognize you. Let's
What
be
do
honest.
what do I like?
Celebrity.
What do I like? What do I like in Paris?
What are people like in Paris?
I don't like Paris at all.
Oh, you.
I like London. I don't like Paris.
What are they? What are the people like? Like, are they different?
They're snooty.
Are they really? Or I always wondered if that was just their kind of demeanor.
True. Not true in the rest of France. Now, if we go to Normandy, the people are wonderful. People love Americans in Normandy.
Yeah. Not so much in Paris.
Or even if you go to the wine country, if you go to Bordeaux or Burgundy, or if you go into the countryside or near the German border, I've been there, or on the Riviera, all those places, French are very nice people. They're no different than the Italians or the Spanish or Latin type people. But in Paris, they're like snobs. Language. No, you don't say. You can't even understand what they're talking about. But around the rest of the country, they're like country people everywhere. It's like the difference between Los Angeles, New York, and the rest of the country, right? And Los Angeles is worse than New York. New York has so many people from so many different places, it gets mixed up. People in California have gone, Los Angeles and California, and the ones we see in politics, they've gone really, really nuts. Lowering the penalties for pedophilia. Come on. Letting doctors and school officials decide whether a child should keep his penis or not tell the parent. I mean, that is pure communism. It all started when we threw God out. It did. It all started when we threw God out. So I wrote down a couple of the things we're going to get now straight out. We were getting it like indirectly with Biden. Identity politics, right? Well, we had it. I mean, we have a vice president based purely on identity politics. She sure as heck wasn't selected because of her great showing as a presidential candidate when she got 5% of the least number of votes of anyone who ran, and the least number of African-American votes and Hispanic votes of anyone who ran. Biden did better. And the white candidates did better with the black vote than she did. I mean, nobody likes her. How do you like somebody that talks like that? Can you pick out one or two good ones and we can illustrate it with? So now, what is California politics? I did this little thing here. Identity politics, you judge someone by the color of their skin, not the content of their character or their merits. Climate change is the number one existential threat to our existence. So you let China run all over us because you're paying attention to climate change. And by so doing, you're making China richer and richer and richer and richer. And you're making us poorer and poorer and poorer and poorer. Expand dependency even more than Biden has, which is pretty impossible after the first couple of years. And it's one of the reasons we're in inflation. We have we're going to be pretty much over a 50-50 dependency society if we get Miss Word Salad. Basically, if you like the criminal, don't put them in jail. I mean, if they're cop killers, like in New York, they're releasing the 48th cop killer in 7 years. If they are Black Lives Matter, that is supported by the same guy, Kamala, that gave you money, Soros, then you get them out of jail, even if they burn buildings down, right? Don't give me this crap. You're for justice. You don't get rioters out of jail, and that was all set up by Soros. You can't fool me. You did it all in the cities in which Soros put in these compromised district attorneys, where he really worries about the district attorney in Rochester, New York. Put a couple $1 million in Rochester, you elect anybody, right? I mean, where'd you get him out? Minneapolis? You own Minneapolis. That's a crooked Democratic city. Detroit? St. Louis? You want to pick another city? Think you could have done that when I was mayor? I'd have put you in jail. So they love to release criminals from jail. And then when they get caught, they give you these feigned acts of toughness, and therefore they get really, really unfair with people, like she did with black people, and put a lot of them in jail when marijuana was actually rather benign, not like it is now. Major supporters of sanctuary cities. And they turned San Francisco into a Chinese city, a red Chinese city. Xi Jinping got a better reception than Trump or Biden or her would get in San Francisco, which is really hard since he's killed more Chinese people than anybody else. So we have any of Kamala's more interesting sayings?
Yeah, we've got our usual ones we've been using the last few days. Let me see if we can get some new ones. Give you a couple minutes. There's a nice one from the school buses.
95% of our school buses are fueled with diesel fuel, which contributes to very serious conditions that are about health and about the ability to learn. Today, 95% of our school buses are fueled with diesel fuel.
Crazy.
Wow. The reason we can't learn is because of diesel fuel, not because of the unbelievably horrible teachers union that doesn't allow you to reward teachers who are successful and doesn't allow you to remove teachers that aren't, and actually makes it very, very difficult to remove teachers who are perverts, who kept our schools closed for an additional unnecessary year, that dropped us about 15 or 20 positions in math and reading, with charter schools, private schools, Catholic schools, all doing much better. I didn't realize, Kamala, that it was the diesel fuel that did it. And given your thought process, you must have really taken in a lot of diesel fuel, because you are really stupid. And it must have been the diesel fuel. Can you believe that? I mean, this is actually running for president? Diesel fuel? Diesel fuel? I mean, this is Biden all over again, except a different version. At least Biden, I knew what was wrong with him. This one, I'm going to have to go through all that work again with doctors and everything else. I went through a whole bunch of her clips the other night, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is it? I mean, there's something about the synapses in the brain that go wacky when she goes off in the non sequiturs. So at least the fake is gone now that they're for the middle class. It's quite obvious they're for the Hollywood elite, the Silicon Valley elite, and then the Ivy League brainwashed assholes. I mean, that's pretty much the party now. And look at the game they played, like that Clooney guy. For 10 days, it's fine that the moron is in the White House pressing the button and making a fool out of himself all over Europe, walking away, looking at people who were, what were they, skydivers? He got distracted from all the world leaders because he saw the skydivers. It's like a kid going off to the circus. And Georgia Maloney had to bring him back. And then I thought Barry Obama really stuck it in him when he put his arm around him like he was a decrepit old man. That was like you think that was like the symbolic Brutus when that arm came out and went around him? Didn't you get a feeling when you saw that, Ted, that he was trying to send everybody a signal?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did. Everybody thought it was unnecessary. Because
No, that's not true, Mayor. You pointed out early, and others since then realized what was going on. I want to give you some credit here, though. You were the first one to point out to me that it wasn't that he didn't need to do that.
No.
You're the first one to point that out.
I pointed it out because I was watching him walk.
Yeah.
And there have been times when you had to do that. Where like when he fell at the Air Force Academy, when he came in that day, he was out of it. Because he came in and he walked past where he was supposed to go, and he walked back, and then he walked past and he walked back, and he finally got in his feet. So there was something going on in his brain when he fell. He didn't just trip. Something was going on in his brain. But here, when they it did take Obama to turn him around. Because he was going to stand there like a zombie for as long as they let him stand there. Yeah, I don't think he even knew where he was. They turned him around, and like a little soldier, he started marching off in the right direction, Ted.
Yeah, well, I'm queuing it up right now while you talk.
And then Barry puts his arm around him like he's a decrepit old man. I mean, he didn't need it. Nobody was there when he fell down going up the steps. I thought that was hilarious. Here's a president. Nobody comes and helps him. I think they were probably all saying, good for him. Apparently, he's a real prick. And so was she. You know, somebody said she lost 92% of her staff, Ted. Is that possible?
That's amazing.
I don't think it's possible to lose 92% of your staff. I mean, she has nobody left. I mean, I guess she got new people, but
it's working.
we should see if we can get some leaks. There must be a lot of people who are willing to leak on her about what a bum she is, right?
There must be.
So we think Barry's game is to sneak.
Yes, you were the first one to point
to sneak the woman who hated America until her husband became president.
Yeah,
that's the one.
I think they want to keep that open.
Has she been in Vogue magazine more than the first stepmother?
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know.
I can imagine.
And it's strange that the two of them are on Vogue magazine, and Mrs. Trump isn't. And Mrs. Trump is a world-class model.
Right.
And I don't think they're world-class models, to tell you the truth.
You know what that's about.
But I mean, isn't that a little strange that you would think Vogue would want to put, I mean, the other one's a professional model. I mean, long before Trump, she's one of the most beautiful women in the world. Oh, well, the unfairness is so.
It's so obvious.
It's almost gets your throat hoarse complaining about it, you know?
Right.
It really does. It really just gets you like,
Well, we'll play it. We're up.
You know, I'm afraid to leave. I'm afraid to leave the United States. I don't even know if I have a country when we come back.
You're right. You might come back and Mayor, it's gone.
Jeez, I mean, whoever thought these things would ever happen? To have these kinds of people, evil people running our country. I mean, you don't realize these are evil. These are evil people. They're evil. They're not just bad. They're evil. You know what evil is? They're evil. Like Karl Marx thought he was the second coming of Satan. He was the second coming of Satan. And he's their influence.
Here's a video. I know we're late, but let's play the video. This is Obama. And the mayor was the first one to point out, watch carefully. Barack Obama did not have to hold his back this entire time. Take a look.
I mean, all you need is a little sign there. Hey, dopey old man, let me show you where to go.
Yeah.
I mean, to put his hand on the guy's back doesn't do any good anyway. You're not going to stop him from falling. You would have to hold his arm
Yeah.
to stop him. You interlock your arms if you're going to stop him from falling. His hands on his bed. In a way, you might almost distract him a little.
Right.
Maybe he was thinking about pushing him, Ted, if nobody was looking.
Look at that.
What do you think? He probably was looking. He probably was thinking,
What?
let me, but they'll catch me. You know,
Get around. Can I do
a little push, I'll get rid of him. And
off the side? He's thinking,
but you know,
he's him off the side without anyone noticing.
Obama's a passive aggressive, so he wouldn't push him unless he could do it secretly.
Once that curtain goes down, who knows what they're
Who
up
knows what he gets with
Once that curtain goes, look at that curtain.
Oh, now Jill slapped him around
Yeah.
for standing there too long.
So this was before the debate. This was
Bet she didn't give him any ice cream that night.
He didn't earn it.
Come on, Joe, time to leave. You can't stay here all night. Oh, I thought we were staying all night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but the point is, he didn't have to do this. And then they called this a cheap fake. Remember, the White House said, we can't, that's fake.
Oh, yeah. The Times went crazy on this.
Yeah.
Just 4 or 5 days before they haunted him off out of office.
Isn't it amazing?
They tortured him out of office.
And how about this idea?
You know, I tell you one thing, when they turn on you, they're mean to everybody.
Oh, Biden? Hey, you know what? He got the treatment that we're used to.
Yeah,
And
apparently he hates Pelosi now.
What?
Pelosi probably just gave it to him. I don't think she is passive aggressive. I think she's just plain aggressive.
Yeah.
So I want to show you one of his records right here. This is not the one that Trump saved Trump's life. That's the one where where he lied. I mean, they love to say that Trump lied during this guy lied. Every word out of his mouth was a lie. When he said he has less immigrants than, he's got more immigrants than I think almost every president combined ×2. If you see the chart like this, like that. This is home prices. This is home prices. So here you go. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to try to show you here. I'm going to mark it for you. You see the red line? You see the red line? That's where it was when Trump came into office. See where it is now? You see anything like it in the past? No. It's called a record for the highest home prices in the history of the country under a guy who screwed up our economy so badly that the middle class is getting killed. And these are not homes like Mar-a-Lago. This is an average home of $400,000. That's a middle class person. Oh, I didn't hurt the middle class. No, babes, you destroyed them. So you can take care of your rich friends and your sick friends and your communist friends. You're not the party of the people anymore. You're the party of Hollywood, of the Clooney's. You're the party of Silicon Valley. You're the party of the rich people in New York who love to tell us what to do about poor people, except put them in their houses or put them in Martha's Vineyard. You're the party of exactly what is meant by limousine liberal. Limousine liberal was a term made up by a Democrat in New York, from corrupt New York, Mario Pochettino, who said you like to drive around and give orders but you stay in your limousine. Or you're the party that described by Malcolm X. Who do you think Malcolm X argued and demonstrated did the most damage to the African American in America? The white liberal. The white liberal. You know why? Because they created mass intergenerational dependency, which they use to keep your vote. And now that they're starting to lose it, they're bringing criminals in from all over the world so that they'll vote, and they don't really give a damn who they are. And when somebody today wrote in one of the liberal, dishonest newspapers that they're not coming from prisons, go check Caracas, my friend. How the hell do you think crime is down 65% in Caracas? Because they're sending us the doctors? There aren't any doctors left in Caracas anyway. It's a communist hellhole. Please save us. Tomorrow night, we'll get you up to date on the Ukraine war, because if you haven't noticed, Mr. Zelensky seems to think he knows who's going to win the election. He's talking very different. Very different. But we don't let him off the hook. I want to know what happened to that money that he got, because I do not believe that every penny of that money went to the execution of that war. And if it did, that will be the first time in modern history that Ukraine didn't steal money. Not the people. Biden's friends, the oligarchs, the ones who paid him and his son, like Mykola Zlochevsky, organized criminal, suspected murderer, Russian-oriented Ukrainian, who paid the Biden family bare minimum $10 million. Or if we could ever get our hands on the offshore accounts that the FBI would never go look at, might be more. We better hurry there, because I don't know, Hunter may be heading there soon before they leave the presidency. Think he's going to lie? Think he lied about not pardoning his son? He lied about everything else. Why the hell wouldn't he lie about that? I didn't know anything about his foreign dealings. And then we have him. I have him on tape talking about his foreign dealings. They don't tell you that. Let Joe got money. Well, we got that on tape too. It'd be interesting to see who she picks, Ted.
Yeah.
And is it going to be her?
Yeah.
Do they have a surprise for us? I think, don't you think the only surprise would be Michelle? The only one who could pull it off? Because if they tried to double cross her now, with the way they've set up the black vote, and they've sort of tried to revive her like she's a real person, you know? I mean, coming into this, she was like a non-person. She was like a silly figure who we made fun of. Even they made fun of, right?
Yeah.
But once they realized they were stuck with her, they turned on Biden, admitted that he's a functioning nitwit, and now they're trying to make it as if she actually has a brain. So if they make her someone who actually has a brain and they overthrow her as the first woman, the first black, they're going to have hell to pay. Unless they go with Michelle, who they figure has a better chance of beating Trump, right?
Right.
And after all, that's who they care about. And they hero worship Michelle.
That's right.
I mean, they never really, this Kamala thing is made up. They don't like Kamala. Nobody likes Kamala. If she didn't lose 92% of her staff, it's something close to it. Nobody I know in Washington has ever said a good word about her. But a lot of people like Michelle. So, I mean, I think they prefer Michelle. So if Barry wants to pull off the ultimate double cross, and you can see with the arm around his back and nobody looking, he just thrown him in the seats. I don't know. What do you think, Ted? What are the odds? What are the odds we get Michelle?
Low, just because of how things have played out. I would say low, but not impossible.
But man, everybody says she doesn't like politics, right? How do we know that's true?
We don't.
I have no. I mean, all I'm doing is listening to the same group of liars that I listen to on everything else. Why the hell would I believe it?
But they've gone too far to compromise.
It's like listening to Gray today, who covered up the hard drive, telling me this isn't a cover-up. What the? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is, but I don't believe it. I'm not going to believe him. Why would I believe them that she doesn't like politics? I don't have any indication she doesn't like. I mean, I think 1 or 2 times she may have said something like that, but a lot of people say that stuff and don't mean it. A lot of women particularly like to feign, like wives and stuff, they like to feign the fact that they don't like it. And you can't tell me Jill doesn't like politics. Jesus. She kept that stumblebum going for 5 years so she could be on Vogue magazine. Made an absolute fool out of her husband. I mean, this whole thing that they're going to do about, he's going to get a victory lap. Everybody will be laughing at him behind his back, right?
Right.
He won't be able to show up for it because he'll make a fool out of himself. And they'll all say, oh, Joe was a great president.
Right.
Yeah, it was really terrific when he got all those people in Afghanistan killed. And when he gave up the Guam Air Base, that was so smart. 400 miles from China. That was really smart. But when he said he never knew about his son's foreign dealings, and there were 500 pictures of him with the people, and 5 witnesses and a tape. Or we don't have inflation. Inflation is temporary. And people are paying 30% more for food. We don't have inflation. We just have much higher prices. Joe, that's what inflation is. Well, I never took economics. No, you did take it. You just got caught cheating and they didn't give you a grade. Well, we're going to keep watching what happens tomorrow and see if we get a little closer to a vice presidential pick from Ms. Kamala. And we're gonna try to find a few more word salads for you. I like those word salads. I think they're very revelatory. I said revelatory because she doesn't know what it means. So therefore she can't pick on me. So we're going to be using, I'm not going to do this to be pretentious or anything, but I'm going to be using bigger words because I think I can get stuff by her if I use bigger words. Because I don't think she will know what they mean. And then if she tries and works on them, she'll say those tautology, Or like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, in light of the fact that we treated our ally, Israel, that has always been loyal to us, like shit, let's just say to Biden and to Harris, go screw yourself. You're a disgrace to the United States of America. This is a country that's been at us by us. Ronald Reagan told me that our relationship with Israel should not be based on domestic politics. He loves and respects Israel because they're a good friend of the United States. Remember the whole thing. Countries, people and countries have very few good friends. And when they need you, you got to be there. Or you're not going to have them. So that's the way I look at the policies, not the Jewish vote or somebody else's vote. It's a foreign policy decision. They're not even close to principled enough, decent enough, or smart enough to understand what I just said. Because the whole world is about them and politics and the amount of money they can make. How we ended up having a country in the hands of these evil crooks, I don't know, but we got to get it back. So you get some rest tonight. We still got a long way to go. Pray for the people of Israel. I'm going to say a little prayer for the people of the United States. And God bless America, the greatest country on earth. Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply